Well, my name is Rita Reagan, and in 1992, we came on a home tour because Harry was on the city council and SPAR had sent him some tickets. And so, never wanted to turn down a freebie. We came and I just fell in love with Springfield. At some point, Forrest Boone and I can't think of the other man's name, who was the head of the department, they approached SPAR about buying the hotel. Mr. Dion was a fireman, and Janice Lampy was his wife. And so I think they just didn't have the money or want to spend the money to keep it up. They made a deal, and we were going to have to pay a whole lot more for the rehab than we should have. Before that could happen, the arson happened. And so now the price has risen exponentially, you know. So, and it was just horrifying. We watched it on TV that morning in the news. The woman who was our executive director, who has lived here lifelong, she was out there trying to direct the firemen on what to do and how to do it. Don't hurt those banisters, you know, and so forth. You had to give her credit. She loved the place and she loved this neighborhood. But anyway, they got it put out. Fortunately, the arsonist worked from the back, and this fire was set in the elevator back here, and so because of the shafts with the for the air conditioning, the air, ventilation, and the shaft of the elevator itself, it went straight up to the roof. So it took the roof out very fast, and then it started to move back this way. Fortunately, the firemen got it put out. The fire was doused before it got to the hall, to the stairway here. Because as you know, the stairway is pretty magnificent. So even though it scorched it and did some things to it, but it didn't destroy it. So it didn't have to be rebuilt from the beginning. And it was a miracle that it was saved. The thing that's so remarkable about the windows is the stained glass, but it's an unusual kind because it's embedded with gold, literally gold. And unfortunately, we got a chance to see it broken up in pieces, a lot of it. But it started 6 years of hell for me because we couldn't get anybody to put the money in. And here we've got one part of the city saying, this is the code enforcement people, they want to take it down. It's dangerous. And the other side is the historic preservation people, they're backing us up. But nobody was putting any money out there. So it got very antsy. And so I probably wrote 752 letters. We were at Ed Austin's wife's funeral, and I think it's Overton. At any rate, we were talking at the funeral, and he said, I just drove by the Clutho building. I thought we did something about this. Nope. So he came back and we did something. Now, there were about 50 different people, and of course, our city councilman at that time, Terry Fields, our wonderful city council, he got involved because it's his district, and so he took the lead on it. But I didn't care who took the lead. I just wanted somebody to help. But and at the same time, Paul, our affordable housing guy, had written. He had finished writing, and we'd spent a lot of time on it. But it was a historical resources grant and aid application, and I had done one before, and they were interested in we went over there twice for this, but in order to get it to coincide, we were having trouble making everything happen at the right time. But Terry and the other city council person, they managed to get the city council to pass for $100,000. This would be a match for whatever we were getting from the state. And we thought we were going to make it, but then the engineer said, you know, he added about, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of money to what it was going to cost to stabilize it. So the city was really saying, thankfully, we're going to take this down. So, in the meantime, Michael Bryant, he said, our benefactor is Dolores Weaver, and she'll take this over and finish it. She'll give the money to it. So we made that deal, and she took it over. The important thing was saving it. I wrote a thing, sort of an editorial, so to speak, and I said, no, you're not imagining things. There's actually scaffolding around this thing. And I was asking for people who had stories about the Clutho. And one of the first ones I got was an old friend of ours, Pat Patronelli. He was, in 1938, he was a Springfield paperboy. Mr. Clutho was living at the apartments. Pat had some difficulty throwing the paper up to him on the third floor balcony. When he went to collect, Mr. Clutho bawled him out. If you can't throw the paper that far, then you walk up those stairs and put it outside my door. Always a good story. And we collected a few more, but not, you know, I was hoping we'd get a lot more. Because, you know, the deed is done. I wanted to be as successful and be the icon for the neighborhood that we intended to be. Clutho was an unusual man. He was absolutely determined to save the movie industry. And he pretty much bankrupted himself doing it. He was one of the first architects to come to Jacksonville after the fire. And he was right fresh out of school and everything. So I'm sure, like many others, he saw his opportunity to make his name for himself. And he did. And he outlasted a lot of the other architects that were here. And it's a tragedy that so many of his buildings have been let go. Yeah.